In the hip reset, you're going to want to place your legs on top of a surface where the knees and ankles are aligned. So you don't want your ankles much lower than your knees, and you want your knees aligned with your hips. From there, it's helpful to place a strap right above your knees because that avoids your legs from falling out to the sides if your hips are still need some work, right? From there, you're going to just relax. And what I'm doing there, what I'm showing there is that the separation from both knees is about a fist width apart. So if you're having some trouble there, that's how far the knees should be far from each other. From there, you're going to set a timer for 5 minutes and we're going to relax. And the goal in this exercise is to go nowhere, right? It's to let go. It's to allow the body to do its thing and unwind and come back into balance a little bit, right? Relax the shoulders, relax anything that feels like effort, right? The point of this exercise is to really unlayer all of the stress and tension that we've built up throughout the day or through the weeks. And this is also a really good exercise to do your meditations and your reflections and any mindfulness work because it's, for some people sitting in like a true meditation position isn't really optimal. And what I'm doing here is I'm just checking my belly button. Not that you want to do anything about it, but it's helpful just to see where the pelvis is sometimes in this position and in any exercise really, and then kind of monitor it over time to see how it goes better into a more neutral and functional position. And what's for me for a long time, I felt like I needed to control the pelvis in this position and move it into a better position. But up until recently, I realized that I just kind of need to let it go, right? And if I just kind of sit in this position for 5-10 minutes, I notice that my pelvis does get into a better position afterwards. So that's some food for thought that you can check out, but it's also good just to not even worry about that, right? And just to kind of relax and not think about having any type of control over the movement. Things you could pay attention to is where is the points of contact, right? Do you feel both shoulders touching the ground evenly? Do you feel like both sides of the pelvis and low back are touching the ground evenly? What do your feet feel like? Do your feet feel like, and feet and calves feel like it's touching the pillow or whatever your legs are on evenly on both sides? And just examine what else is going on in the body. And maybe it's not physical, maybe it's more of an emotional sensation that's coming up or thoughts or whatever, especially once this position might get a little quote unquote boring, even though it's such a powerful movement. It's helpful to sit with that, and name it and come back to the body, restlessness. It goes without saying, if pain shows up here, right, it's an opportunity to work with it. And a lot of the meditations and reflections will help you with that to guide you on what to do there. But, even in this position before, if you're doing it as part of a routine, if the pain shows up, don't run away from it, right? Be kind to it. Don't push it away, try to figure it out. It's just, this is the opportunity to observe it. Not to change it, not to fix it, not to label it as some type of diagnosis, but just label it as pain. There's a pain showing up in this position and just watch it. All you need to do is watch. You don't need to fix it. You don't need to do anything with your body here to make it go away. And my eyes are closed here, so you can have your eyes closed or like maybe a gentle gaze here. You can do this exercise every day, as many times a day as you want, as long as you want. If it feels good and it helps with symptoms, this is take it, do it as much as you need and want. There is no maximum amount of time you could be in this position. Obviously, you have to have obligations in life, right? So you can't be here all day, but just know that you have the freedom to go into this position whenever you want. So we're approaching 5 minutes. You can hang out here for longer, obviously, but for the routine or for the exercise right now, we're going to come out of it. In this exercise, we're going to place two yoga blocks parallel from each other, elbow distance away, right? So we're going to be able to place both our elbows comfortably on the yoga block with our wrists hanging over the yoga block, like I'm doing here. The toes at the bottom touch each other, and from there, we're going to place our head just right on the ground. So if you want something a little bit more comfortable there on your forehead, keep that in mind and place something there. And from here, we're going to bring our shoulders back and down, not excessively, but just notice how naturally the shoulders probably hunch forward a little bit. So we're going to pull them back. The scapula is going to depress and retract. And from there, we're just going to hold that position while we breathe here. For some people who, if you know yourself, either in the standing assessment or you're just confident that you're an archer, you already kind of pull your shoulders back a lot, you can probably let them come forward and let them relax in this position. But for the majority of us, I'd say maybe 90-95%, we probably need to pull those shoulders back because those shoulders are slouched forward all day long at the office, right, doing computer work. So play around with that, pull those shoulders back, and just breathe. For some people, when we first get into this position and start pulling those shoulders back, we may feel crampiness or, maybe some like a nervy restriction there or something. That's nothing to be concerned about. Getting into this position, the ground is stopping us from arching our spine, from pushing our chest and ribs out. So it's maybe the first time in a while you've actually pulled those shoulder blades back and down by using the muscles around the shoulder blades, right? And not just something else up and down the chain. So it is possible that you may feel some interesting stimuli when you start practicing this, but it'll go away. If it gets intense, you could come out of it. But more likely than not, it's a contraction that if you just kind of breathe through it and relax, it should kind of disperse on its own. And we're breathing, inhale and exhaling slowly. And with each breath, you're trying to pull those shoulders, you're trying to get a little bit more aligned. And when I say can, I don't mean you have to actually physically do anything. The body's going to work this out on its own. For you, you're just thinking about pulling those shoulder blades down and back instead of just allowing the shoulders to come up towards the neck, right? You really want to relax those shoulder blades back. But if you do that, because you're in such a nice aligned position, the body's going to work itself out and come back into function and balance here. So don't feel like you need to do anything to get there. But it may feel awkward. It may feel awkward when you finally go into a more functional position. So you may feel like you're not aligned, even though you most likely are. So just trust the position and trust the process here. Toes are touching. Just a reminder that the heels come out to the sides as the big toes touch. We have a little over 2 minutes left. And try to get comfortable here. What's the easiest way you can pull the shoulders back and down? This position shouldn't be too hard. It shouldn't be that uncomfortable. I mean, it might be in the beginning, but find a place of calm. It shouldn't be a strenuous effort here for the 6 minutes that we're in this. It should be relatively comfortable, and you should be able to be here for a while. That's the reason why this exercise is a long hold. And it may not look like much watching me or doing it yourself, but if we were to fast forward this and watch what happens to your spine and shoulders and neck, it's it's pretty amazing, you know. So the the, the entire body really gets into better function from this pretty simple exercise. And that's really kind of, a message with this entire course, right? A lot of the times when we're in pain, we don't need to do much, right? We need to do a little less. We need to kind of get out of our heads and get into these types of positions that allow our bodies to figure it out, so our brain gets out of the way a little bit. Notice how I turn my head. I'm on this kind of like gym rubber floor here, so it kind of got a little uncomfortable on my forehead. So it's totally okay to turn your head and lay on the side of your head if your forehead gets a little uncomfortable. So you can definitely play around with that. We have about 30 seconds left here, so we're almost there. A few more gentle breaths. Okay, that's 6 minutes. You can hang out here longer if you'd like, but we're going to get out of it for now. For the glute conversation, we're going to want 2 rolled up towels. As you see, I already have 1 rolled up for my neck, and I'm going to roll up another one for my low back. And you want the width of it to be about your grip, right? That's when you know you have a thick enough towel. So you're going to place 1 rolled up towel under your low back, and you're going to place the other rolled up towel under your neck. And this is to ensure proper spinal alignment. And then you're going to grab a strap, and you're going to place the strap right above the knees and clip it in or tie it or whatever you need to do. And from there, just check your feet. Make sure both feet are pointing straight. They're aligned, and the middle middle toe is pointing straight as well, so you're a little pigeon-toed. And then make sure the towels are in the good position, 1 behind the back, 1 behind the neck. Always good to do a last-minute check on the feet, because a lot of times one foot will point out, or there will be some type of poor alignment there. But once you feel like you're in pretty good position, then the setup is important, and I know it's tedious, but because you're going to be in here for 8, 9, 10 minutes, you want to make sure that you're in the right position, right? So you don't have to continuously adjust when you're in it. So once you're in it, you are in it, right? You are relaxing, you are breathing, and you're ready to sit in this position for a long time. And while you're in this position, we have a slight pushing out in the knees, right? So we're trying to engage our glutes with a 20 to 40, 50% contraction, right? We're not trying to go all out here. We're not trying to, push out with all our might. Instead, we're just trying to get a nice, gentle, but strong contraction into the band. And while we're here, we're trying to pay attention to what's happening, right? We're observing. So if the upper body tries to get involved in any way, whether it be the neck or the core or the low back, we want to notice that, and we want to try to relax that. We want to try to relax the upper body. We don't want the upper body to do the hips work, right? And that's really common for many people. So make sure this is really happening at the hips, and more specifically at the glutes. And one helpful strategy to relax and to bring the awareness to the body if the mind starts going somewhere else or anything else is to just bring the attention to the breath, right? Pay attention to the inhale, pay attention to the exhale. If you're a meditator, it's a good time to bring that type of intention here, right? Building that muscle memory awareness with the glutes and the hips, but calming everything else down that's happening in the mind or body. And trust that you're in a good position. You know, this position really teaches you finally to start letting go. You don't have to do anything. The strap, the towels are placed in a strategic position to ensure that your alignment is good. So whatever the body's doing, whatever you're feeling, is what it is, right? Allow things to kind of happen and allow your body to figure it out. It may feel like you're rotated in a weird way, but what I found is that your posture is probably usually rotated, and the towels and the strap is finally putting you into better alignment. So it may feel strange, it may feel weird to finally be in a good, healthy position. So that's some food for thought and something to pay attention to while you're in this position. And not to judge it either, right? Just to observe, oh, feels weird. Maybe one glute is contracting more than the other. Maybe the neck is consistently trying to shrug. All these things are not things to judge, but things to observe because it tells us what else is happening in our bodies in a day-to-day on a day-to-day basis. And I'm probably going to be in here for about 6 to 7 minutes, but I encourage you to stay here for 10 minutes. You know, maybe longer than that's a little bit unreasonable, but 5 to 10 minutes in this position is really where you get the most value. This isn't a quick getting a couple of reps and go on with your day. It's an experience, right? It's an opportunity to build more body awareness and that's how you get more out of this exercise, by continuously being in here for a while and building more body awareness. And just a reminder to continuously keep that tension onto the band. Not too much, but not too little either. You don't want to get complacent here. Make sure that's maybe at this point you could push a little bit more, maybe get that up to about 40-50%. And another reminder also to keep the upper body relaxed, right? The upper body doesn't need to do anything here. And if it is, it's, something to note and see if you can bring the awareness to the breath and relax that upper body even a little bit more. And notice how my arms are, you can't see my left arm, but I'm trying to keep my arms on both sides in the same position, right? I don't want one arm higher than the other. And we're just trying to do our best to keep balance on both sides. And we're not looking for perfection, right? We're not looking for the perfect balance on both sides because that's impossible even in exercises. But we're just trying to do our best. And if something's really obvious, cue it and adjust. So I'm about to get out of this position, but feel free to stay here for longer. Anywhere up to 10 minutes is great. For the hip adduction convo, we're going to need 2 rolled up towels. So as you can see, I have one already rolled up for my neck, and I'm rolling another one from my low back. And you want it to be about grip width apart, right? Sorry, meaning you can kind of hold it in your hand. So it's about, the width of it is about your grip. So one rolled up towel goes under your low back, and the other one goes under your neck. This is to ensure proper spinal alignment, which is going to help the exercise feel and have its value much better, right? It's really important. It takes a little time, but getting the towels on there is super important. Next step is making sure the feet are pointing straight, that the middle toes are both pointing straight. So you're a little pigeon-toed. And from there, you just relax. You place the yoga block between your knees. So you bring a gentle squeeze in your inner thighs, right? And you want that contraction to be anywhere from 20 to 50%. So you definitely want some tension there, but you don't want to be killing yourself here, right? You want to make sure that you're still relatively relaxed. It's just a little bit of effort, and from there, the upper body stays very, very, very relaxed. And this is all just coming from your inner thighs, your adductors, and your hip flexors. And if this is your first time with the towels under you, it may feel a little awkward. You may actually feel like you're rotated, but what's happening is these towels are forcing you into better alignment. And in fact, for the first time, you may actually be feeling what better alignment feels like. So this is especially true if you notice that your pelvis is usually rotated, or that your hips are rotated in one direction. This is a great way to gently and consistently bring alignment back into the body. And of course, one thing we can do here is pay attention to the breath, right? Bring everything down, relax everything. There's nowhere to go, right? I think so much with corrective exercise, there's this feeling that we need to go somewhere. And when I work with people all the time, there's this rush of wanting to get something done, right? But in my own training, what I'm realizing is that sometimes the less you do, the better, right? Sometimes just allowing your body to let go and figure it out on its own is very valuable, and in fact gives sometimes better results than just always trying to hit that home run, always trying to get that perfect exercise and the perfect contraction and the best position. So just relaxing in here for I'm here. I record this video for about 6 to 7 minutes, but staying, especially if you're doing this for the first few times, hang out there for 10 minutes. 5-10 minutes is at least 5 minutes, and anywhere up to 10 minutes is a good intensity or a good time to be in this position. And notice my arms, right? My arms are to the side, and I'm trying to make them symmetrical or parallel, meaning both arms are in the same position on both sides. One arm isn't higher than the other, and it's kind of hard to see my other arm in the video, but that's my intention, right? And that brings up another good point, where we're not looking for perfection, right? We're trying to cue ourselves into the best position possible, and we don't need perfection. We don't need perfect alignment. But there's probably, I don't know when this happens or how much, but there's a deviation from good alignment where pain starts to show up, right? And discomfort starts to show up. So how can we be better at understanding what our bodies need to just get a little bit more aligned, just get a little bit more functional? And getting out of alignment and not being in perfect function all the time is part of living, and that's okay. And so is pain and discomfort, right? And signs telling us that we need a position like this more often, where we need to kind of come back to something like this, where we can just rebalance, reset, and bring everything back to function. So we're making sure if the feet are still pointing straight, it's not cheating out or anything. We're making sure that we're maintaining a gentle, slight contraction, maybe even a little bit more at this point, 20 to 50%. And what you may notice is other things show up. Now that we've been here in 5.5 minutes, we may be noticing one inner thigh working harder than the other, one hip flexor working more than the other, or maybe your abs are starting to contribute, or your neck is starting to get tight, and noticing that the upper body is trying to help with hip function, right? So all of these observations are important, and just observe And then once again, let go, right? And come back to the breath. And we don't need to change anything. We just need to let go, right? Come back, inner thighs aligned, and kind of find those kind of those checkpoints for you, so you can constantly come back over and over again and relax in this position. So I'm about to get out of this position, but feel free to hang out here, like I said, for 10 minutes, and you'll find that 10 minutes is a really nice time to hang out in this exercise.